Someone got out their label maker to label this flip a while back. I find that amazing. This particular dealer already wrote down the country, the year, the denomination of the coin, the KM number on the coins, the metal content, aluminum bronze on this particular one, the mintage, and usually the period means million, so 9.5 million of these. Labeling this one as very fine, but then very fine plus. But then on top of that, got out a label maker. I thought it'd be tough enough to write a lot of these things on here, but then to actually get out your label maker and add that to a flip is amazing. Not all of them are like this, just a couple in this video, but I thought that was really interesting. So this coin is from Brazil. It's 1939, 1000 reis, and it celebrates the centennial of the birth of Barreto, and see the name of Tobias on this side, Barreto over here. Here we've got the years 1839 to 1939, so he was born in 1839, and this coin was made in 1939 as a one-year commemorative. And then we flip it over, and I think this is a design that they used for some other coins, but this specific coin was a one-year only coin, and like it says on here, it's catalog number of KM550. So in this video, we're going to look at the coins on the screen. This is going to be fewer coins than we usually see, but there are some interesting things to talk about on here. The last two coins are a purchase from someone else, but the first few, if you like buying coins that are labeled with a great variety, I recommend this dealer. I found him at the Tennessee State Numismatic Society convention in the suburbs of Chattanooga. That show happens twice a year in March and November, and but this particular dealer is probably going to be all over the place in the South through here. So as you can tell, he's a part of several different places in the South Carolina area. And I've got to say, I really like this $20 bill business card that he's handing out. So yeah, even in his 25-cent bin, he goes the trouble of labeling everything on here, and I think that's fantastic. So next, we're going to have this Argentina 1 peso from 1959. He's going to call this AU condition, KM57. And these are actually 5 for $1, so there's going to be 5 that I bought on this particular day from the TSNS show. So a nickel-plated steel, 237 million of these, so they're not particularly rare. The prices on his individually priced items are pretty much close to book value, although I think he's a tougher grader which would be in the buyer's favor on that. So you usually get some really good coins out of that. But flip this one over, and we've got the Libertad lady that appears on a lot of the Argentine coins at this time. Next, we've got a coin from Bulgaria, 1951. This is a design that appears on a lot of the Bulgarian coins of this communist era. KM54, copper nickel. Got the what I sometimes call the Kung Fu Lion design that we see on a lot of coins. And I just recently figured out that the date here in a lot of these Eastern European countries, they will, I know that a lot of countries do their count different than ours. We always do month, day, year. And so they've got day, month, year. So it's 9, then a Roman 9, so September 9, 1944. So it's the 9th of September, 1944, which must be the founding of that iteration of Bulgaria. Flip this one over, and it is the 25 Statinki from 1951. This was the only year that they made this coin, and this is the only year they made this denomination, at least while they were the People's Republic of Bulgaria. So That's one you won't see as often. I did find it kind of surprising that he had British pounds coins in the 25-cent bin, just because if you knew how to trade them in, this is worth over $1 just in foreign exchange value. But I think that coin collectors aren't going to pay full collector price for these. So I guess that is what it is. But this is the Great Britain pound from 1985. This one features, well, this was from a series where they had some kind of plant with the crown through it. So the plant would go through it, as you can see here. So there's others in this series, but this specific one is the Welsh leek. And this specific coin was also made in 1985 and 1990. Just those 2 years, as they had a rotating design there for a while. So Cam 491, nickel brass, kind of a thicker coin if you've never seen one of these before. There is our portrait of the Queen. And then we go to the one from 1989. This is the only year that they made this specific coin, catalog Cam 959. This side is the Scottish thistle, and again, it's going through the crown on it. They used this design on a coin with the prior portrait of the Queen, so the one that they used before this, that went through the 70s and early 80s. So there is that would make it kind of a similar coin with a different portrait of the Queen on it. Another one that's nickel brass. And so these 5 coins, I paid $1. They have a collected book value of $3.35, but most of that just comes from the foreign exchange value of the pounds. So I picked up this coin from Uzbekistan, and I don't have many coins from Uzbekistan, and you can see that I added a lot of notes in blue ink in addition to what this dealer had. So I paid 85 cents for this, and so we have I believe that's a Phoenix on this coin. And when you look in the catalog, there are 2 versions of this coin in the Kraus catalog, and it's they call it the large number and the small number. And when you've only got one and you've only got the picture, it's kind of hard to say which is which if they're both from the same year. And during this time, this coin was only made in 1994. They made several coins in 1994, and then that was all they made for a while. And so this is my first Uzbekistan coin, earliest Uzbekistan coin, I should say. There are others that are made in the 2000s that I also had, but when I looked up this coin in Numista, which is where I thought maybe they would have pictures of the varieties, boy, did they have pictures of varieties that were not captured in the catalog. And so it pointed out 5 or 6 different varieties of coins that they made of this specific coin in that one year. So one of them is, I'm not sure how much this will zoom in here, but there's a version where we see a line of stars going around the top, but all the way around there's a version of this coin that has little beads, so little circles that would run between the stars and the letters, and this is not that version. And you can also see along the edge here, there is a kind of a thicker edge. This is the thick edge version. There is a thin edge version. And then there's another version that right here would have the letters PM for a mint mark, and this is the version without that mint mark. This is the reeded version of the coin, so there's a non-reeded version of the coin. And as we look at the back here, trying to think of, oh yes. So we have the Phoenix here. Let me get my fingerprint smudge off that. So behind the head of the Phoenix is a sun with a bunch of sun rays coming out of it. On this version of the coin, they're all distinct lines that just stop, but there's another version of this coin where there is a line that kind of connects all those. And so this is the version that does not have the line that connects all those. And then finally, actually not finally, with this symbol right here, I guess that is a 16-sided star, I guess, that has a crescent moon and a star inside of it. And this is the version of the coin where the interior star is a little bit irregular on there. I couldn't see it. That is so tiny that I couldn't actually say that's the case on here. But based on the other varieties, I can tell that that is the case. And then one other difference here is the guide that I saw in Numista when I looked up this coin, if you could tell it was the small version or the large version, they called it fine or coarse, it was by looking at I don't know if that's called a tilde symbol in this alphabet, but the little symbol above the middle N is, this is like the thinner or finer version as opposed to the larger version. So that meant that this is the thinner version of the coin. So with all that, that makes this well, the catalog would call this 4.1, but looking at that guide that I found in Numista, this is actually 4.1.21b, I believe. And so this is the thinner numbers on the back. This denomination, by the way, is I think it's pronounced Tayan, and so it's, I guess in the Cyrillic, the H makes the N sound with it called Tayan. So it's like T-I-Y-I-N is how you would spell that in English. So the N with the tilde over it makes the Y sound, and otherwise it's the I sound. So T-I-Y-I-N in English to pronounce Tayan on that. So yeah, my first Uzbekistan coin from the 90s. That one took a lot of explaining to do. Next we have a coin from Uruguay, which I had not seen. This one was in brilliant uncirculated condition from 1977, the 2 centésimos coin. It has the SO mint right here. I should look that up. I wonder if that's Santiago, Chile, if Uruguay doesn't make their own coins. I should remember what the capital of Uruguay is from geography class, but I don't. This coin is made of aluminum. I did pay 50 cents for it. KM 72. Flip it over, and we have the number 2 over, I guess, some wheat, or maybe that's just a pattern. I thought that was interesting. But then from the same series and same year, we have this coin, which features Artigas. Again, in uncirculated condition. Also has the same S with an O on top of it, mint mark right there. Aluminum brass, I believe. And then this is when their currency was the new peso, or nuevo peso. So it's the one, and it's got the same kind of sideways wheat design as the last coin had. Now we're going to pick up a coin from a series you don't see very often. This is from 1925. The ones from the 30s and 40s are a lot more common. Even the older coins from Spain are more common than this year. So this is a 25 centimos, and my catalog says this is the 3rd decimal coinage. And so it does look well worn, but I think well, in the sailboat, I think the sails are kind of smooth anyway on that design, but it's he labeled it as Fine Plus up here in the corner. So 1925, he also wrote PC-S on here. And when we flip that over and look at the side that says 25 centimos, there's a PC over here and an S on that side. And so different coins that were made that year had different letters. There's a version without the PCS that is a lot rarer. And some of the other coins that they made that year had different letters standing on them. I don't think that's a mint mark, but I'm not sure. So KM 740, and I like the crown that appears above the 25 on that one. So we've got one more that has the nice label maker. This one is, of course, from Hungary, 1943, 5 pengo. Admiral Horthy, I guess, commemorating his 75th birthday. So there was a prior version of this coin that featured the same individual, but this was a one-year coin celebrating his birthday. And I do not find aluminum coins this shiny. So this one has been stored somewhere nice for quite a while, nearly 80 years. And it's got you wouldn't think that it was aluminum based on the shine that it has, but I really like the design of this one on this 5 pengo. But let's look at the Admiral on the other side. I had it KM 523 just because it didn't have room to write that on the other side. Trying to hold it in such a way where you can read all the words, but also it doesn't wash out the image of the Admiral on here. And I thought that was a fantastic coin, so I thought I would pick it up. All right, so I've gotten a little bit from another dealer on here just because I didn't want to make another video just for what we've got here. It was from a dealer that sold individually carded dollar and up coins, and they had a 3-pack of proof coins here from the Cook Islands. And the Cook Islands are oftentimes pretty hard to find, and so I didn't have the 1, the 2, or the 5. I do have some others from this country, but or at least this island, but not these. And so you can see the got all 3 of these have the same portrait of the Queen on the back, but looking at the 1, I believe that is called a taro leaf. The 2-cent coin here has the pineapple, and then the 5-cent coin has the hibiscus. So I believe these are all proofs, and usually when you find proofs together like this, not part of the proof set, it's usually because there are some silver coins in the set, and they just cut the silver coins out and then cast these aside. I couldn't see any silver coins that the Cook Islands made this year of 1972. So this is the earliest year of coins in that Cook Islands made, and so these are KM. I added it to the flip here, KM 1, 2, and 3 on these, and eventually, not this year, but eventually the proof sets for these coins were taken over by the Franklin Mint, where they did their thing where they offer a proof coin in 3 different versions: the mirror-like, the ones that are abbreviated in the catalog, the F version, the M version, and the U version, I think, or maybe there's a P version in there also, but this was before the Franklin Mint was doing that. Another thing I found interesting is there are versions of these proof coins, a variety of these proof coins, which only made in 1978. They celebrated I think it was the 300th anniversary of the birth, or maybe the founding of the Cook Islands, but it would be the 300th anniversary of the birth of Captain Cook, who the Cook Islands are named after. And then the Franklin Mint did it again in 1981, where they added edge lettering to the coins only in 1981 with the wedding of Charles and Diana. And so those probably carry a premium to them because they have a little bit extra compared to this. Last thing we're going to look at is this coin right here, and I'll cover up my note here for a moment. So China, Northern Sung Dynasty, 960 to 1127 AD, $3. And how often do you have a chance to buy a coin that is slightly labeled? This it doesn't give you all the details, but it does at least give you something. A coin that this old, 900 years old, for $3, and it just you don't have that happen very often. And a lot of people, as it turns out, the Chinese coins are probably the easiest coins to find that are this old. And so at least this dealer gave me something to work on. She herself appeared to be Asian, and so she did have several coins kind of like this in her bin, and I looked through several, and I thought this one was probably the one in the best shape. And so I decided to do a little bit of investigating on these. It not for the faint of heart to try and identify some Chinese coins, because you have to try and figure out what's going on here. First thing I figured out was this side is up. And then usually what you have to do on a coin like this is, uh, let me go ahead and show you the back, because there's nothing actually on the coin on the back, but uh, just my notes that I have added onto here. So usually on a coin like this from China, this symbol and this symbol are exactly the same every time. As far as at least what the symbol is, there's always varieties to it. And then you use the top one and the bottom one as an identifier of who the emperor was of the time. Then you flip it over to see the where it was printed, whether it was countrywide China or if it was in specific provinces. That's not the case here, because we're going back quite a bit further. And so at least she gave me something to go on. I pulled up the Hartil catalog of Chinese cash coins and was able to identify this one. And so some of the things to look out for on here was, this is kind of a weird concept to me, but if you, for those of you who use word processing, you're familiar with the concept of a font or a typeface. And so I find this weird, but there was a time back when you go at least 800 years ago that that kind of thing happened here with the Chinese coins as well, that there was a different style of writing the symbols. And so this one is called the running style. Uh, I'm not sure where that comes from, but to me it almost looks like, I would have called it more of an italics. They called it, if you were writing the characters in a hurry. It's not the fastest style. There is even another style called hurried, but it's I guess, faster made brushstrokes. And so all these symbols lean a little bit more than they would on other coins that would have the same symbols on them. So that's one thing that I found was particularly interesting. These characters, by the way, we've got the top one is Sheng, the next one is Song, Wan, Bao. And so even the one of the things that you do to identify the coins is to look at the subtle differences in some of the coins. And so in this particular case, the Bao here, with the way the bottom of the character is drawn, they call that the clawfoot Bao. And with that information, I was able to just go through the catalog through the Northern Sung Dynasty until I found this particular coin. And usually I have a really difficult time figuring it out. This one was a little bit easier. I just had to go through a bunch of pages until I got to the end of the Northern Sung Dynasty. And we found that this coin is from Emperor Huizong. And the fact that it was using the running script with the claw feet Bao, this coin, it was made between 1101 and 1106. So it's not as old as 960, but we're at least able to narrow it down to 6 years on here. So if you're into this kind of thing, in the Hartel catalog, it has a Hartel number of 16.379. So here's the funny part, I think. In his catalog, the rarity of this is given a 15, which means this is not the most common coin, but the second most common coin, which means to him, this coin has a book value of $2. You're not going to find a book value $2 coin that's 900 years old of pretty much any other country in the world. So I find that amazing. I guess the reason is they're so common. They're not that common that I find these all that often, but I bet if you were in China, you would probably see these all the time if you were looking for coins, I guess. But yeah, I just find that fascinating that that the catalog value on a 900-year-old coin is $2 on here. And I don't feel like I was gypped by any means for paying $3 for this. I mean, it is quite corroded, but I like this one because even as well worn as it is, I could still identify the characters well enough to find in the catalog. And if I can identify it, That's good enough for me. Let me flip it over one more time in case there is any notes on here that I didn't say. Yeah, there's nothing etched on the back of this one. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.